Welcome to the Izzy Chinche Show.
Like, just having anxiety in itself, we don't have to dub that as a bad thing. Mm-hmm. It's information that we got to pay attention to something.
Yeah. I'm so excited you're able to tune in. Join me as I interview athletes, entrepreneurs, and high achievers. I also share much about my life struggles, trials, and successes in hopes to inspire you. I intend for this show to be one of the greatest shows of all time, so your listening and support means the most to me. My goal is to help inspire as many people as possible, so please share with a friend if you enjoy just one thing from today's episode. Together, we can help more people grow. Let's get started. Today I'm interviewing Christina Cummings, who is a mental health therapist. So Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I know. I feel like our last talk could have been a podcast.
It really was.
It was
like 2 hours long. It was like had good stuff.
So
in it.
Good. Yeah. So hopefully we can bring some of that back today.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, what would you like to talk about?
You know, I'm kind of going with the flow. I know the last time that we talked a lot about perfectionism, athletes, self-compassion, all the mental health that comes with being an athlete, all the things. So if we want to have that same kind of all over the place conversation,
I think that's what we should do. Yeah. I think we should literally
It was a really good conversation.
Yeah, let's just go. Like whatever feels
good, whatever comes out.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the kids that you work with then, maybe.
Okay, yeah. So right now I'm kind of all over the board. I work with a lot of teens, young people. My youngest is like 11.
Wow.
My youngest is 11.
That's young then.
And my oldest is like 54. So I'm kind of like all across the range.
Yeah.
I have a few that are athletes. Which is why I feel like I relate to this topic so well, because like those are my babies, and like I have such a soft spot for athletes, and my sister was an athlete, and I knew a lot of people who were athletes. I wanted to go down that route, but it wasn't for me, which is fine.
But you're getting into CrossFit, and you're in your whole journey with that now.
True. Yes. And there's a lot of it's a lot of mind over matter kind of things when it comes to this journey. Yeah. And so, there's just a lot that comes with this. So, so with my athletes, I work a lot with like depression, anxiety. A lot of them do struggle with perfectionism, not really knowing how to bless you. I feel like I saw that coming.
I was like, is that coming? Yeah, I couldn't hold that back. I was like, you just gotta let it go.
That was funny.
I don't know even why I tried to fight that.
No, you really can't fight it.
No. And now it feels so good.
Yeah, as you should. Like, you gotta be relaxed.
I get all this in.
But just a lot of depression. I have both of my kids who are athletes. Actually, I have 3 now. I think I have 3 now. And you can really tell in real life, like, how a lot of what they learn on the field kind of trickles into real life. Yeah. And in some ways it's positive, but some of them can be really negative.
Like what?
Like just feeling like they have to always win. They always have to accomplish something. They always, like, success is such like a rigid thing.
It's
for
measured
them.
And it's clear.
Yes.
Like, you were successful if you won, and you weren't if you lost.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And it can even show up in their grades. Like, I have a few who, when they make an A, they feel great about it. But then if they make an A minus, it's a problem.
Yeah.
If I get a B, it's a problem.
Yeah.
If they get a C, they have a breakdown. And so it's like, and it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
It shouldn't be that way.
No.
Because I feel like, also too, I feel like, how can I word this? A lot of what you do on the field, off the field, in real life doesn't necessarily define who you are as a human being.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no, yes, but it's like internalizing it, making it personal, and then carrying the weight of whatever. Yes. Yeah.
And that's rough.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
It feels like you do because so many people, like, especially when you're an athlete, like, how you perform is how people see you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it does become a part of your identity. Yeah. And it's just a matter of, like, how can we separate my athletic
success
person to who I am normally. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's 2 different things.
I think there's I love what you're saying, first of all. But I've also been learning about, like, you know, the performer self and then our self. And, like, those are both pieces of me.
Right.
But just because I'm not in my performer self, like, on the way that I need to be, doesn't mean that, like, the other self is just being itself is bad.
Right.
Because it's not in this, like, 10 to 10 kind of pace,
right?
You know, and being able to step in and be like, okay, I'm not in my performer self right now, and that's okay,
right?
Because we all have our performer selves, like, you know. But I think that's a really good point.
Yeah,
like, bring that up.
Yeah, like learning how, like, when it's okay to turn off.
Yeah,
and not feeling like you have to carry it with you like a backpack everywhere you go.
Yeah. So,
you know,
what do you tell them to, like, when you're coaching these kids and or teaching these kids?
It depends on where they're at.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it just starts with acknowledging all the sides of self, you know, because, like, I think that sometimes when we do get into performance mode, that becomes like that's the only thing that we function with.
I struggle with that.
And that's okay. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
I
definitely struggle with that. Yeah.
And because, like, also too, like, to your point, as being a therapist, I function with that majority of the time. Like, sometimes that just is how I present.
Yes.
I can meet somebody in Walgreens and they look like they're not okay, and I'm like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And I'm not working. It's not even my business.
Yeah.
They're fine. They just yawned. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's not that big of a deal. But so that's why I'm saying, like, you have to learn how to turn some of those other parts of yourself off when it's not necessary.
Yes.
It's okay to have it because it helps you navigate life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, having anxiety isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
Anxiety lets you know that something's wrong, something's bothering you.
Yeah.
And you have to tune into that to figure out what it is so that way you can move on.
You got me some chills. No, because you just said it doesn't, like, just having anxiety in itself, we don't have to dub that as a bad thing. It's information that we got to pay attention to something.
Yeah.
I love that you said that because I feel passionate about that subject right now. Like, we have these human feelings and we just dub them as bad, and something's wrong with me because I have anxiety or I have whatever. And it's like, you're having a human experience.
Right.
And you need to listen to what your body's saying.
Right.
I love that.
It's
like,
normal.
Yeah.
It's okay. I have anxiety all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all of the time I do.
Yeah.
And instead of, now I will say that, like, it takes time to work through that because I promise you, if you would have talked to me 5 years ago, I would have been out of shape, not good, you know, mentally and emotionally, a nervous wreck, avoiding people because of how anxious I feel internally, you know, like, so it's natural, but I think that over time you just learn how to function with it and to give it space and to listen. You know, you have to listen to what it is that's bothering you so that you can figure out what you need in the moment. And that's how you grow. So, like, I hate that we got on a whole nother topic, but
no, I'm loving this. I am seriously loving this. I knew this is what was going to happen. I'm like, this is perfect.
It's good stuff. Yeah. But it's true. And I think that that definitely reflects in all of my clients, but especially in my athletes, because they're so what's the word I'm looking for? Like, programmed to just go
perform.
Yeah. And they don't know how to slow it down. So it shows up, and it shows up in real life too.
And like, that just resonates because that's what I deal with all the time. It's like, when can I be off and it's okay to be off? And I think actually just being with my fiance has helped so much with that, because he's like, you don't have to, like, I can be however I want, and it's accepted and it's fine, and he doesn't care. It's like the most freeing thing, and it's, I think, helped me so much in my process of not always having to be on, not always having to be a performer and perform and get a result. Just let me just be. Like, let me just live my life for a second. And I think that's been huge for me, just finding a space where I didn't feel like I had, because even in previous relationships, when I look back now, I'm like, I was still performing. I wasn't just being myself. Like, I was being a part of myself, but I really wasn't letting those walls down and just being like, hey, this is who I am. this is it. Like, take it or leave it. Looking back, I was still trying to, be the perfect girlfriend or look a certain way or whatever. And now it's like, no. Yeah. Like, I gotta be it all and be accepted there. And that's where you're also actually become free. Like, I was like, I wasn't free in any other relationship that I was in. Yeah. Because I wasn't actually comfortable to be myself. Yeah. Performer or non-performer. It was just huge. Izzy. Yeah. Yeah.
That's huge. It's exhausting.
It is.
That's so exhausting trying to be on go all of the time. And eventually you're going to run on fumes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what happened. And I just and then I was like, I look back at other relationships and I'm like, what was I even doing that for? But it's that programming of like, I have to perform. I have to be on because that's where I get all my validation and my recognition. That's where I feel accepted. That's where I feel valuable. Yeah. Not like I'm alive and I'm living life and like that's enough sometimes. I get that. I'm getting through it. So.
I get that. And I feel that because like you were searching for something in return.
Yes.
You were doing all the work because you were wanting that instant gratification.
Yes.
And something to pour back into you. And that sucks.
It sucks so bad.
Because at the end of the day, there's so much that we have to learn to give to ourselves before we can receive it from somebody else.
Yes.
Because because also too, until you find out what it is that you need, you're going to continuously be searching and not know what you're searching for.
Yes. You're like
you're just there. You're just trying to reach out to anything. Yeah. And it's not fulfilling. Yep. And it's chaotic.
Yes.
And it's not healthy.
It's not healthy. You're not gonna ever reach that. Right. Yeah. And to your point, it comes from me first, not needing validation from someone that I was dating.
Right.
But giving it to myself. Validating myself. And like I didn't do that. So I still was trying to be perfect for anyone that I was dating. Yeah. Opposed to like, I know where I'm at. Right. I do the work. I check in with I know myself. I am good with who I am. And then being able to just be with whoever you're with. Right. But it's like crazy to look back and realize I was doing that, and I definitely was not aware of that. I definitely was not aware of that. I was like, what? No.
And that's fair. At a certain point, it's engraved in you where you don't realize that you're just functioning. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder for you, I'm having like a whole therapy session.
I know.
But like,
I love it.
For you, when it came to like that realization that you had of just being yourself, do you feel like you found that on your own first, or do you feel like you were kind of on that journey and then your fiance kind of helped you finish that out?
My fiance, for sure. He has been very pivotal in my life of just like seriously just being like, it's okay to just be. Yeah. It's okay to just be who you are. And it started with him saying, you're allowed to feel that way. Like I would say something like, oh, I'm feeling stressed, and he'd be like, you're allowed to feel that way. It was just a very simple thing, but anytime I said how I felt, he didn't try and fix it. He didn't try and guide. He just said, you're allowed to feel that way. Yeah. Why don't you just talk about it and we'll feel about it for a second and then we'll move on. And that, I just hadn't experienced that before. Yeah. There was no like, okay, well, because I mean, and I still do it. I'm like, oh, I feel this way. And I'm like, oh, I try and find the source of why, which is good. But sometimes it's just like, just feel it. Right. And then you can move on. And there was just such acceptance there. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can feel that way. And then he's like, I know the kind of person that you are. He's like, I know you're going to come to a conclusion that's going to serve you. But in this moment, like, why don't you just feel that? So yeah, he's been huge in that.
I love that for you. We all need a support system. Yeah. Like, regardless of how old you are, you need a village. Yeah. You need a village because there's so much that we kind of carry with us because I think if you think about it, every single day that you've lived here, there's something else that's been added on to you that's made you into who you are.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
Starting from when you were a baby. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of like unconscious things that we function with that we don't realize.
I love how deep that goes. Like,
I swear, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, because that goes all the way, I won't go all the way to that tangent, but like that really does go all the way to like, when you're a child, there are certain messages that you receive from your caregivers that carry on to real life. Yes. You know what I'm saying? It really, people swear up and down, babies don't remember this. Babies don't, no. They might not remember like specific things, but there's a feeling. Yep. There's a certain feeling that people can carry with them from day one. Yes. Whether we recognize it or not. No. So I love that your fiance was your village. And you needed that. You needed the reassurance. You needed the safety net. Yeah. You know, because we can all work through a lot of these things, but sometimes we do need help to get there. Yeah. You know, I had to go to therapy myself, and it took me a while to be comfortable with unloading, you know, because I was so comfortable with the trying to be a certain way. Present. Okay. And so it was very hard for me to accept somebody else's openness to me. Yeah, someone holding space for you. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So do you still go to therapy? Yes. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I mean, I've worked through a lot, but it's one of those things that I just feel like, even though I'm good, like I'm great now, like my mental health is good, I'm able to pour into people and find ways to pour into myself. Like I found my balance in life, but you know, things happen every day. Yeah. Something different changes every day. Yeah. And so I would rather stay and continue to get the support, even when I feel like sometimes I feel for people who will go to therapy and then they feel good and then they don't want to go back. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's going to the gym. Like, it's like, because it's like, you, like, to your point, the gym, like, you lost 50 pounds, but like, you got to keep it off. You gotta, you got to keep doing the work. To stay in shape. Your mental. Same thing. And so like mental health, like, you might feel really good and like great that you feel great. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a beautiful feeling because it's hard to get there. Yeah. But you have to be able to maintain. Yeah. That's the biggest thing about life is maintaining. Yeah. Because life happens. Life gon' life. Whether we want it to or not. Yeah. So to answer your question, yes, I do still go to therapy. Yeah. I go every other week and I don't intend on ever stopping. Yeah. I think it's just a good way to check in with yourself. Right. Like sometimes if you don't even have a thing going on, you're just able to really check in and because they're gonna ask questions. Right. So you're like, how do I feel? I feel good, but then, you dig in and you're like, oh, there was something that was bothering me or whatever. Right. Like, yeah. And it happens all the time. Like, I'll have sessions where I'll go in and I feel like, oh, I'm great. I slept in. I had a smoothie. I, went shopping. I'm good, you know? And then we start talking and my therapist will ask me one question. I'm like, dang. And you're just, And then it's a deep conversation that I was not planning. Yeah. I love that. So it definitely happens. It happens. Yeah. So, yeah. How often do you work with your kids, the athletes that you work with? They all they're spread out a little bit. Some of them are like every other week. Okay. I have one that I see weekly. Okay. Just depending. And it also depends on how they're feeling. I know like during the seasons. Yeah. They might slow down a little bit. Yeah, they're so busy. Yeah, but that's also when I encourage them to keep coming because that's when it's now you're back into work mode. You're in school, you're doing your sports, you're doing after school things. Like there's a lot that's happening in your life. Yeah, and I think we just get so used to just functioning. Yep. And to your point earlier, you said something about like sometimes going to therapy is just a good way to check in with self. Yes. And I feel like that's what a lot of athletes don't get the chance to do. Yeah. Because they're so busy or when they're on their team, they're focusing on everybody else. They're focusing on making the team look good. We work as a team. Yes. There's no I in team. Yeah. But in order for there to be a team, there has to be a you. Yeah. Yeah. And you have to make sure that you're okay too. Yeah. So you can carry the team. Like it all it's just full circle. So you say
check in with self, like what are some of those things that you can do to check in with yourself? Because this is something I've been thinking of recently, because I realize how often I'm rushed. I'm constantly rushing myself. And I realized this just the other day. I was taking a shower and I was taking my time. I was like, I don't remember the last time I took a shower and I was like, oh, I'm enjoying being in the shower. It's like, I'm getting a shower, then I'm getting ready, and then I'm doing da-da-da-da-da-da. Not, let's just enjoy the shower. It was a very simple thing, but I realized that about just even eating. I eat to just get my fuel, go. And there's times where it's like, man, like, I even chew fast. Like, can I just chill and enjoy this for a second? So
it becomes almost like robotic. Like you're just going just to go because you have to.
Inputs, outputs, inputs, outputs.
Exactly. A lot of my people who do that too, and also too, I've done that too. You know, the biggest thing that I talk about with my kids is practicing mindfulness. You know, and mindfulness is just one of those things where you're just able to have those check-ins where you just kind of sit back and reflect on how you're feeling mentally and emotionally. You know, and that can start with something as simple as, you know, okay, am I feeling tense today? If I do, where is it at? You know, do I have a headache?
Where is it at?
Am I hungry? You know, like a lot of therapists like to do the whole like head to toe kind of check-in where you just literally scan your body from top to bottom and see how you're feeling. So like even right now, like if I'm just sitting here just thinking about self and tuning out everything else that's around me, my shoulders are a little tense.
Like the only thing I'm like,
and sometimes we don't realize we're just sitting there, and then when you think about it, you can relax for a second. Like, dang, I actually was kind of tense. You know, and then continue to go down. I have soreness right here that I didn't think about until earlier because of me working out. Like those are just the small things that you can do, and then from there you can kind of figure out, okay, why am I feeling tense? I felt a little tense because we're doing a podcast. You know, I felt a little nervous. And over time, like I'm able to kind of relax, but that's just how I'm feeling. And then when I even dig deeper into, okay, well, why was I feeling nervous? Because we cool, we're chilling, it's not that big of a deal. But then there's that, you know, I struggle with confidence, and like I'm working on, you know, just being comfortable with just presenting myself as who I am and not caring about what people think about like that small check-in can lead you to going into everything else that you didn't realize was there. And sometimes it's hard to do that because we don't know how to function, like just focus on self. That's hard to do. And I think that can sometimes come from, you know, people just it being uncomfortable to think about self. Like I've been thinking about, you know, for example, when we came in here about to get started and you said that you were going to introduce me. And I was like, in the moment, I was like, well, dang, I don't even know what to say about myself. Because, like, I don't know how to talk about myself like that. I don't know how to advertise myself. It's weird. It's weird. So even having to sit back and reflect on self can be awkward. Especially when you don't fully know yourself sometimes. And sometimes that's something that we even fight against, too. Because we focus on everything else and not us.
Checking in.
So then we don't even know what we need.
This is so good.
I promise it's deep. It's real deep.
No, and I think I've been realizing recently, it goes back to once I'm having something, I'm feeling some sort of anxiety and stuff, it's an insecurity. I'm feeling insecure because I'm actually not supporting myself in the way that I need to. Like I am not either validating myself or just like giving myself what I need, like just water or taking some deep breaths. I'm instead gonna ignore that and do something to get something done, and then I keep not actually showing up for myself. And it's also been so freeing because I realize so much of it I actually have a say in. Like I just need to show up for myself more and actually check in and see how do I actually feel, and then try and support wherever the need is, you know? And like that, I feel like that's been the theme of what I've been like learning recently. Like, okay, how can I validate myself? I'm feeling weird about this social setting, and it's because I'm feeling insecure because I'm not being confident because I haven't validated myself. So of course I'm not gonna feel confident. You know? It's
full circle. It's 100% full circle. And so, yeah, like I encourage mindfulness, and it can feel awkward at first.
Yeah.
And also too, like mindfulness is one of those things that's so easy to do because you can do that while doing anything. Mm-hmm. You know, you can practice mindfulness while being in the shower. You can practice mindfulness while cooking. You can practice it while you're driving. If you want to journal, you can journal. Like, you can really cater it to you and what you like to do. Like, I know one of the things that I like to do sometimes is when I wake up in the morning, I fix a cup of water, I take my vitamins, take my medicine, and I'm sitting there playing a game or, you know, whatever. But I'm also like thinking about myself that day. Mm-hmm. Like, what are my thoughts today? How am I feeling? Is there anything that's stressing me out? What am I not ready for?
Yeah.
You know, how did I sleep? You know, it's so simple, but that goes a long way.
Yeah.
So doing that will help you gain the emotional self-awareness.
Yeah.
That will then be able to take along with you
each
day.
Yes. Yeah. I like that. I think even like the morning, that's the place that I've focused more on. Like I have to get outside, drink water, brush my teeth, and make my bed before I even look at my phone. Mm-hmm. And that has been really, really good to start my day that way, not setting the tone, reacting to what someone has messaged me or whatever. It's like, nope, I do the things for me that make me feel good, going in ready to tackle the rest of my day. I'm like, I have to drink my water. I have to, you know, like otherwise I just react immediately. Got this text. Now I'm responding, and I'm not setting the tone for myself. And it's like, we talk about how selfish people are now and like the way that we are, but it's like, actually, it's all detrimental though. It's not good kind of things. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's like that's not good for you. Right. Like, you know, if you're going to be, I don't know, that word selfish, like, if you're going to focus on yourself, you should do it in a way that's going to actually benefit you. Not like, usually when we're selfish, it's actually something that's harming us. Right. It's like taken away from from like our vibe or whatever. Yeah.
I feel like there's a difference between being selfish and prioritizing your well-being.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
There's a huge difference.
It is a huge difference, and that's what people don't recognize.
Yes.
And also too, you'll like, I've learned in life that a lot of the times the people who have a problem with me prioritizing myself were people who never respected my boundaries in the first place.
Yes.
They were people who were used to me giving everything and doing and functioning in their world and revolving around them to the point where when I said no, they had a problem. Oh, you're being selfish. Actually, no. Yeah. I'm just thinking about myself before I think about you. Yeah. Because also, too, it's really benefiting you because if I'm not good, how am I going to help you? You know what I'm saying? Like, as simple as that. Yeah. So, like, there's a big difference, and I wish that people would, like, acknowledge that. Yeah. Because just because I'm paying attention to myself and putting myself first does not mean that I'm being selfish about it or that I don't care about anybody else. Yeah. Yeah. If anything, I'm taking care of myself more so that I can take care of other people too. Yeah. Because you can't do everything if you're not good. Yeah. Yeah. I think I realized that when I was pretty young, because I had five younger siblings, and I was spending a lot of time like taking care of them and helping out around the house, and then I started to realize like I can't be good for them if I'm not good for me first. Like, but I see other people do this. They're like, oh, I'm taking care of everyone else. I'm like, again, you're not being good for you. Yeah. You're not actually gonna be that great for them. Yeah, because you're showing how to not. You're displaying you not showing up for yourself. Right. And then that's not setting a good example. Right. And it's that circle. It goes back to like you have to do the work. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I also try to like encourage my athletes to do a lot too is focus on self and put yourself first for a minute. You know, and I know that it can be so hard when your schedule is so packed with so many things happening, especially when you're a kid. People be feeling like kids don't have anything to stress about. Yes, they do. Yeah. They're working a full-time job by being at school from 9 to 5. They really are. That's a 9 to 5 job. And then going home and having homework. Some of them are working jobs when they get home, and then having to go to practice early in the morning. Or like that's a lot to do in a
I have
24
kids that they
hours.
go to practice at 8:30 at night.
See, no,
Because that's when the field is available. She gets home like at 10.
and see by 8 o'clock. I'm not good to nobody. My social clock is done. You know what I'm saying?
I'm done.
So I commend kids who are able. It's a lot. So that's why I encourage them to take time for yourself to just think.
Yeah.
And just breathe and just be.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's just you going in the bathroom and locking the door and peeing for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just something so simple.
Yeah. Away from your phone.
Yes.
Away from all the distractions. Because they're like, oh, you know, I laid in my bed. I'm like, you scrolled on your phone for 2 hours.
Right.
Did that wasn't check. At no point did you check in with yourself.
Right.
Because you just distracted
Exactly.
you from checking in to you.
Exactly.
So any anxieties that you had that you were needing to listen to now are just suppressed and it's a bigger cloud.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when we do that, when we're just kind of, you know, going and just functioning in whatever chaos that we have going on in our lives, that makes our foundation very shaky.
Yeah.
You know, like at that point, like you feel like you're carrying the world on your shoulders, everything's great, everything's good, but that foundation got cracks in it, baby.
Yeah.
It got cracks in it, so eventually it's gonna fall apart, whether you recognize it or not. Mm-hmm. And so you have to take that time for yourself. I say to people every day. I know for some people that's not reasonable because they have things going on and it's hard to just do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like you need to do that at least once a day.
Yeah.
At least once a day.
You're just gonna feel more confident.
Right.
I mean that's what I realized. Like every time I start checking myself, every time I feel insecure about something, it's because I just haven't checked in.
Yeah.
And I'm not acknowledging why it is that I'm feeling insecure.
Yeah.
And then from there I can be like, is that reasonable? No. Are you awesome? Yes. Move on.
Right.
And then I fix it for myself. I'm like, okay, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah. It's so easy to fall into.
It is.
Yeah, because I do it all the time, and then I have to recheck in and like redo it.
Right. So whenever you work with your kids, like what kind of comes up the most for you and for your kids?
There's a lot of negative self-talk. Mm-hmm. And that is probably the biggest thing that I try and preach to kids. Preach is a strong word, but I really do. Like, do not talk unkindly to yourself. Mm-hmm. Because they make a mistake in training. It's like, oh, like the fate, everything. It's like, I was like, you're not being kind to yourself. Mm-hmm. I tell my kids, they make mistakes. I don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't care you make that mistake. Like, yeah. I'm like, I really don't care. You just did it right 5 times. Like, can we focus on that? So I would say the negative self-talk. Yeah. And I try and raise their awareness to the story that's going on in their head and the voice that's going on in their head. And I tell them, I said, you constantly have a conversation going on in your head. And I said, if you don't believe me, just listen to the voice that said, no, I don't, or question that. And they're like, okay. I'm like, you have a conversation running in your head all day long. What does that conversation look like? Mm-hmm. What are you saying to yourself? Mm-hmm. Is it nice? Are you backing yourself up? Or are you like, is it just that voice of doubt that's like, oh, I can't do this. Oh my gosh, like this is too hard. Or I messed up again. This is embarrassing. Or is it building yourself up? And I think kids just aren't taught that. They're not taught to monitor the conversation in their head. And that's what I tell them all the time. Monitor the conversation in your head. Mm-hmm. Check in. What are you saying to yourself? And it's a good reminder for me too. What am I saying to myself? Am I saying I believe in myself? Like, I can do this. And it's crazy though, because I see the way kids, they'll actually say it like, oh, I'm so bad at this, or I can't do it. I don't ever allow that. Yeah. I do not allow saying I can't. Yeah. Or I'm bad at this. The only way that you can like fix that is by adding yet to the end of it. And say like, that's a great question though. But that is the thing that I see the most often. We're not taught how to be kind to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we're just like hard on ourselves. Yeah. And not building ourselves up in the way that's empowering.
Yeah.
You know, and that's actually going to create a difference in our life and in our circle.
Right.
But yeah, I'm very passionate about that because they're just not taught it.
Yeah.
Like it's usually the first time they've ever heard it. Every time I tell them that. Listen to the conversation that's going on in your head. What were you saying to yourself? They're like, what? I'm like, what did you say to yourself when you did that? Did you say, oh, of course, can't get it right? Or do you say, you got this, you'll do it next time? And they're like, usually it's something negative.
Yeah.
Usually they said something pretty negative to themselves. So, and something that we even do like in our house with like my fiance and my best friend, like we don't allow any negative self-talk. And we used to say things like, just make a little mistake and be like, oh, I'm stupid. Oh, I'm so dumb. Mm-hmm. We don't allow that. Mm-hmm. We don't say that. No, I'm not stupid. I did something silly. Whatever, I forgot it. But like even just spilling something, like, oh, I'm so dumb. No, I'm not. Like, and we make that way too easy to say. Like, I don't know. Do you hear people saying that all the time? Yeah, I don't allow myself to do that. I don't call myself stupid. I don't call myself dumb. I don't talk about myself in a negative way. Yeah. And I really, really try and like drive that home with the kids that I work with. Yeah. You do not talk unkindly to yourself.
I love that because kids are so vulnerable. You know, they're so vulnerable. And they're literally sponges. Like everything that happens around them just kind of soaks in. Yes. And then it becomes internalized. Mm-hmm. You know, and it made me think about how something that I've like, before I was doing therapy, I used to be a case manager. So I used to work with like families and things like that a lot. And a lot of things that I would tell my parents was there's a way that you can make every situation like a teachable moment. Mm-hmm. You know, like because it starts so early. Like that negative self-talk does start early. Yeah. You know, it starts because
someone told us that.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You know, you spilled some juice on the ground. Now your parents are pissed. They got to clean it up and they tell you to go to your room because you just messed up.
And you're like, oh my God.
You internalize
spilled my OJ.
Right. And this is not like, you know, like talking negatively about parents because it has nothing to do with them. Yeah. But it's just that sometimes those simple things, we don't realize how it translates. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you're frustrated. You had a long day at work. Now this is just another thing that you got to worry about, you know? Or, oh, they know better than that. They should have put it on the table when they poured it. Or there's all these things that we try to like identify as being the issue. Yeah. And sometimes that can come out really bad. Yeah. And kids are sensitive. Kids are vulnerable. Like they're literally taking every single piece of information and kind of creating their own scenarios in their brain, just like how we do that now. Yeah. You know? And even though to us it might seem unrealistic, to us, you know, we're just like, why are you upset? It's just the juice. Just go to it's not a big deal. But to them it is. Yeah. Because the whole world. Exactly.
Like they don't
because they're already dealing with the struggles at school. Yeah. They're dealing with the struggles of realizing that, you know, I'm not so smart in this area at school and so now I'm stupid because I can't do it. Like there's all these things that they're just taking in because they're figuring out themselves in the world at the same time. Yeah. And so like there was this book that I read in school. It was called The Whole Brain Child. By Dan Siegel.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Yes. It's so good. Yeah. I didn't want to read it because I don't like reading, but it was really good. And it was basically, the whole book was just talking about how with different age groups, how you can take every moment and turn it into something that they can learn from. Oh, you know? Okay. That's my, yeah. And it takes a lot of patience, you know, because like we're adults. We have life happening. We have so much happening on a daily basis. And no matter how old you get, you're still figuring yourself out. Yeah. So there's a lot.
Because we're changing.
Exactly. So there's still a lot going on with you. So like it sometimes can be hard to have that patience with your kid when they're having a tantrum. Yeah. Or when they just broke something when you told them to leave it alone. Like those small things can piss you off enough. But it's as simple as going back to let's say that Johnny spilled a cup of juice. Mm-hmm. You know, he just tried to pour it on his own. Yeah. And for whatever reason, the math was not mathing and he spilled it and it fell. And so in that moment, like as a parent, like, you know, naturally we're just, oh, Johnny, go sit down. I'll pour it myself. And then you clean it and you just dismiss it. And then he feels like he messed up. You know, he feels like he did something wrong. Yeah. When in actuality, I spill stuff all the time.
Yeah.
All of the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm a grown woman. Like, and so, like, instead of making him feel bad for making that mistake, be okay, well, let's get some paper towels real quick. Let's clean this up.
Yeah.
You know, clean it up. Okay, now let's try it again.
Yeah.
You know, okay,
Yes.
move the cup. Make sure you're holding the cup.
Again.
Teaching them how to
Yes.
do better, as opposed to making them feel bad for not doing enough.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Yes.
And
trying it again.
yes.
That is huge because I just ran my team through PKs, like a penalty shot in soccer, and whoever, like, if they missed it, they got another shot. You tried again.
Yeah.
Like, did you have a plan? Why didn't it? But it's like, as soon as we get something wrong, we're like, okay, that's bad.
Yeah.
I am bad at that. I'm never doing that again. I don't enjoy that.
Yeah.
Like, and then we just cut it out instead of immediately being like, all right, let's try it again.
Yeah.
Retry. Why didn't it work? Okay,
Yeah.
let's problem solve.
Yeah.
And I love that. Yeah.
And that comes with us sometimes as adults not having the patience.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes we do forget what it was like to be at that age.
Yeah.
We've probably forgot it because that was so long ago. So, like, it's you have to, instead of thinking about yourself and how whatever situation with that kid affected you, think about how that affected them for a second. You know, because even though, like, yes, they're kids, yes, they don't pay bills, yes, they don't, you know, do the things that we do, they still have feelings.
Yeah.
They're still stressed out.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot happening for them
Yeah.
in their tiny little world.
Yeah.
And they need support too.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, even with the lack of patience, like that, sometimes we have to, that lack of patience and how we pour into kids can also say a lot about how we grew up too.
Yes.
You know, like, if you
Yes.
grew up with parents who didn't have patience and who were strict and
Yep.
who were yelling all the time and all things like that, it's harder for you to not carry that with you.
Yeah.
With your kids or with another child.
We just keep projecting everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. On the next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
feel like, you know, oh, well, I'm not as bad as my dad because my dad would have did this and my dad would have did that. But that doesn't mean that what you're doing is
good.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe is a little better. Maybe.
Right. Maybe a little bit, but, like, still needs some work,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so it's literally just having patience to be able to help this kid experience life and create a healthy perspective on whatever situation just happened.
Yeah.
As opposed to looking at it as, oh, you failed, or, oh, it wasn't good enough, you know?
And involving them.
Yeah.
Because with your second scenario of the juice spill, it was like, all right, we'll clean this up together. We'll try it again. Opposed to, I'll do this. I'm cleaning up. You go do your thing.
Yeah.
And that goes back to patience. But I think involving them in it. Like, you're still a part of this. Let's figure it out. Because then we can eliminate so much, like, fear of failure. And I think I see that in the athletes a lot that I work with too. It's just like, ugh, if I mess up, I'm just letting everyone down and and it's like, man, I think that just it gets rooted so far back and like
It does. And you know, even with, I feel like also too, it makes them forget about that they're having fun. That they should, like, this is something that you wanted to start, you know?
This was supposed to be fun.
Yeah. And now it's a job.
Yeah.
It's literally a job, and that takes the enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
And because it becomes a job, it does make you feel like any failure that you do makes you a horrible human being.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, it's like, oh, I had one job and I couldn't even do that. I suck.
Yeah.
You're over it.
I am the worst. Yeah.
And that's not a good mindset to have.
Yeah.
Everything that you do, even though you might be competing or not saying that, like, you want to do well, and it's okay to want to do well. So it's okay to want to be on top of your game all the time.
Yeah.
But there also should be a part of you that enjoys what you're doing.
Exactly. And that's where I've also realized in myself and looking at other athletes, like, hard work for me is fun. It's enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
Like, really grinding something out and working to the point of, like, actual exhaustion is fun for me. It's very enjoyable for me, right? It's like not, but it is. And it's interesting finding that line of, like, okay, who really is that way, and then who is not, as the sports ladder goes up.
Yeah.
Because if you truly don't enjoy that hard work, in the long run, it's not a good. You need to go to a little bit of a lower level. And right now, I'm dealing with a team and trying to find that line of like, okay, who are the kids that really do, like, they love the hard work?
Yeah.
Like, it's enjoyable. And, like, fostering that. And then the ones that are, like, they want to put in some work, but they don't want to be a professional. They don't want to go Division I, and that's okay.
Right.
But it's hard in a team where you have mixed, because you're going to, and knowing, like, where is the line? Because I got a bunch of high school girls right now, and it's like, man, I'm struggling. I'm struggling because I realize the crowd that I have.
Yeah.
You know, I only have a couple who want to play in college. I got like 5 or 6. The rest are like, no, I'm just on my high school team. And there's not that much left in the high school sports world. Like, for most part, it is kids who are very dedicated. But it's finding, like, man, like, what is the standard then? Because some of these kids are just like, yeah, I'm out here, you know, and I want to be a part of the team. I'm gonna work hard, but this isn't my life.
Right.
And then the other ones it is. So it's like, where do you find the middle ground?
Right.
I don't know. I'm watching it and trying to navigate, like,
yeah. I feel that, and that can be tough because, like, each one of them are living in their own world, and it's hard to be understanding of someone else's world and them functioning different than how I function.
Yes.
So it's definitely difficult, like, figuring out how you merge all the dynamics.
It really is. It really is.
That sounds tough.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to phase out because it's an underdeveloped program, and I went into the program knowing that and was like, okay, I'm going to try and rebuild this program. So the standard is, like, you know, just certain kids can come and play and be a part of the team and whatever, but it's like, that's not the direction that we're headed.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like still paying attention to those kids and not being like, all right, well, you just don't have the right attitude, so get out. You have a good attitude and you want to be here. You're not someone who's going to be elite. And there's just kids, and that's fine. And, like, they know that. Kids, it's very rare that you have a kid who is very underqualified that's like, oh yeah, I want to be pro. Like, they already know for the most part. And if they don't have those capabilities, they usually don't have that kind of desire. Yeah. they're like, I want to have some fun and, like, you know, get out there and play hard, but it's not like the kid that's gonna dedicate their next 10 years of their life, like, nonstop to this. At least 10 years, honestly more. I'm like, okay, where's the balance? But it's been interesting trying to, like, navigate that. And, like, even for practice tonight, we're gonna go in there. Like, we had a game on Friday, we won, we didn't play well, and there was a lot of things that we didn't do that we should have done. And it's like, how I can't ignore that. Even though we won, like, I don't want to send a message like, oh, we won. No, we didn't play well. We didn't do what I know what we can do. So it's still holding that standard, but I'm like, how hard am I going to push that? And I still haven't decided for tonight. I still haven't decided. I'm like, I don't know how hard I'm going to I don't know how hard I'm going to go on them, but it needs to be hard enough. Like, because otherwise I'm setting a standard that's like, it's okay to, like, not do what you need to do if you still get the result. But it's like, no, like, you guys put in the work. I know what you're capable of, and you didn't do it. Because we had lazy moments and stuff like that. So it is so much. It sounds like a lot. It is a lot. Yeah, you're like, okay. A whole other level.
That does sound like a lot. And I can even see, you know, a lot of perfectionism issues probably been showing up there, because you have the ones who aren't that dedicated, but they love the sport and they're just having fun. Who then probably at some point feel like they have to meet the needs of the people who are taking this very seriously. And the people who are taking this very seriously feel like they have to do a lot to make up for the ones who aren't. So it's a matter of, like, finding the middle ground, and
it's really tough right now.
But cater to each other at the same time. That's tough.
That's why I'm trying to drive the point of we're a team. We play for the team, because I was like, no matter what, learning how to play and sacrifice for a team is going to teach them good life lessons. It's going to teach. It's valuable. So I've been trying to, like, drive that point, because they won on Friday night, and I was bummed that it had to be the way that it was. Like, it was so, because I would have wanted them to be like, go celebrate your wins, so proud of you guys, like, have fun, hang out together, whatever. But it wasn't that.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that sucks. Because I want them to be able to enjoy that, but like also they need to learn.
Right.
It's a tough balance right now. I'm like, I don't know, you guys are. This is tough. There's so many different dynamics of dealing with a team like that. It's good learning for me.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Have you ever? Granted, I'm not a coach, so I wouldn't know like how this would work. But like, is there a way, or have you? Had the chance to sit down with each of them to figure out what their goals are, what they're trying to accomplish?
I have started to. Yeah, I've started to, and it's like, that's a good point, because I've only been investing in the ones who want to move on. Mm-hmm. But it would be good to do that with the ones who also don't. Yeah. Because I was like, all right, let me see who are the players that want to transfer. I'm like, I'm going to give them transfer advice and like help them. But that's actually really good. I should invest in the kids who didn't raise their hand and don't want to transfer. Like, hey, let's still have our meeting. Yeah. But like, how can I support you and the rest there? That's good. Yeah.
And
I like that
too. Like, granted, I don't know anything about those girls, so I don't know what their actual mindsets are. But I feel like I had this one kid who, at one point in time, thought about going pro with some of the things that she was doing. But then eventually, because of the pressure of having to perform and to do well and compete, took a lot of that passion away. Yep. And so then it makes me wonder, like, some of the ones who aren't necessarily wanting to go pro or to go any further with it. Is it just because of the pressure? Like, what is it? Like, where are you at and why? Yep. And coming at it in a genuine... to even try? Yes. Coming at it in a very genuine way. Yeah. Because also, too, even if they never really did have that mindset of wanting to go, any further with it, they might have shut that down because they see these people who do want to, and they're competing hard, and I can't like, do that. Exactly. And then that comes, and then that, I'm so glad you said that perfectionism thing. And so, because a lot of times people who struggle with perfectionism, even though it can show up a lot as just, like being super high function and doing all the things, sometimes it can be shutting down because you're worried that if you don't meet that mark, it's going to make you look bad. Yeah. So how about I just not even try? Yeah. So that I don't make myself look a certain way. And I don't have to deal with that failure because I didn't even open that door. Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. That brought up a lot. Just like there could have been other kids that do want to transfer. They just didn't raise their hand. Mm-hmm. And they're like, I missed my chance. Yeah. 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 I'm so happy you said that. That was definitely meant to be. Yeah. I'm definitely going to circle back around and just meet like build the relationship. Tell them that just because they don't like want to play at that next level, I don't value them differently. Mm-hmm. I'm not like, okay, well, I'm not going to invest in you. No, you're still a person, and I want you to have the best life possible. Yeah. And I think coaches, and I try and be really aware of it, like we just don't even realize the impact that we have on these kids and the things that we say, how much and I try and realize like my impact on like a high school girls team. Like I'm like older than them, but I'm not like old. So, so I'm like, I think my words have impact there. So I try and really be aware because otherwise it's tough. Yeah. There's so many things. Yeah, I'm like,
sure. I think that having because you have such an impact, whether even if it's a small impact, I feel like having that conversation will allow there to be some more open communication and not even just between, and even if you wanted to, like figuring out how you can create that open communication that you develop with them individually and take it to the team too. Yes. Because I feel like also if they all have an understanding of each other and how they feel and where they're at, can make it seem like an even more of a team kind of unit. Because they have an understanding of how each person is functioning, how they are showing up, and how they can show it for each other. Yep. Because you might have that one kid who doesn't want to go any further with it, and you have the one that does. And so the one that doesn't, she might, try a little bit harder because, my friend wants to do something, so let me help her out. Yep. And then the one who doesn't, like, okay, well, my friend doesn't really want to do this, but like we in it together, so let me kind of meet her.
It's gonna have a ripple effect. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And that's even like just even the rest of the coaching staff, I need to connect with them individually. I need to go grab a drink with one of them, like outside of it. Like, hey, let's go. It's just making people feel heard. Like you're there. Yeah. No, I'm so glad you said that. Like that, I really needed to hear that. I really needed to hear that.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime. I'm glad. Kids are they're so beautiful and so difficult at the same time.
Yes.
Yes. And it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of self-reflecting to figure out, what am I doing? You know, and what I'm doing, is it helpful? Is it not?
Yeah. What am I just projecting? All the time.
Yeah. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So I commend you for doing that and working with all the kids that you work with, because kids are hard. But I know that you are making such an impact on them, and they're growing so much for it.
Thank you.
And so I appreciate you for what you do.
Thank you. Same. You're in the same world. I mean, you're working one-on-one, like in the weeds, which that's a lot too.
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be. We're working it out.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about your fitness journey. I wanted to hear about.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
It's been going pretty good. Last week I didn't go. I only went once.
Okay.
That's just because I had the stomach bug, so that was rough. But so I went on Thursday, and then me and my partner went for a hike on Saturday.
Okay.
So
good. Doing active things.
Yes. Yeah. So it's been very nice. It's made me do a lot of my own self-reflecting and my own self-awareness work and compassion work, because it's so crazy how, I do all this talk about being kind to self and not talking negatively on yourself, because you don't have to function at a 10 all the time. But last week, with me being sick, I felt so bad for not being able to go to the gym, even though being sick is not in my control. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so then I had to therapize myself. Yeah. And it was like, why are you upset about this? Like, you can't control it. Yeah. You've been going hard for months. Yeah. Like, why are you focusing on this 1 week when you're not able to function at a 10? Like, it's fine. Yeah. And I still function at least a 5, because I went to the gym, on Thursday after being sick for 4 days. Yeah. I even when I went, I was feeling a lot better, but I wasn't fully at 100%.
Yeah, but you did it. Yeah.
I did it. So why am I concerned that I didn't go twice that week? It's fine. Yeah. Yeah. So doing my own work, which is why I feel like I'm able to really talk about this subject, because it's one of those things that's a continuous journey. Yeah, I love it. Even when you have accomplished the self-compassion, you still have to be able to use it, and sometimes you forget about it. Yeah. Sometimes things happen where it doesn't feel like you don't connect to it. Yeah. Because there are a lot of times where I'll say kind things to myself, and I don't feel like I believe it sometimes. Yeah, you're like, ooh. I know that's true, but I don't feel that. So it's a continuous journey, and I'm on it. I feel like I'm doing really good. Good job. Yeah. I'm learning to focus on the facts as opposed to focusing on my emotions and things that aren't 100% realistic. Yeah. Focus on the facts. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I tell a lot of my kids all the time. I'm like, let's look at the facts.
I love that you said that. Yeah.
Because sometimes our brain will make us feel like those negative emotions are the truth. Yeah. And it's not.
If everything that we felt was true, this world would be insane. We'd be a mess. Yeah. I mean, we are a mess. Not as bad as we could be. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I love that you said that. Yeah. Fact over feeling. Yes. What is the truth? And then it makes the feelings more manageable. Yes. And I've been working on that with my best friend and I have been talking about that. Just even looking in the mirror and not having it be negative. Mm-hmm. I don't have to look at myself and pick myself apart. Right. But I go to do that all the time. Right. And it's come on, that is ridiculous. Yeah. Stop. Just be kindly to yourself. Don't. I seriously have realized I have a pattern of I go to the mirror and it's negative. Mm-hmm. For no real reason. Yeah. There's no reason for it to be that way, but that's what it is. Yeah. Opposed to being hey, you look good. I don't know anything. That anything other than being negative about the way that I look. Yeah. man, it's brutal. I'm like, wow, would I say that to someone else? No.
Right. That's the huge thing. Like, you have to. I felt that.
Yes,
that.
good.
I feel like it's because we have this idea of what we should look like, what we should be doing, how we should be feeling.
I hate that word.
Facts.
You gotta get rid of that.
No, for real. And it's because of like what the world is doing, what other people are doing, what society deems as normal.
Yeah.
You know, and we keep fighting for these unrealistic standards.
Yep.
You know, because also just random, and something I had to even, tell myself sometimes too, because for the longest I still do struggle with my weight and how I feel about it and how I function with it. And because of that, at a very young age, like I struggled with like an eating disorder because I was so focused on how I looked and feeling like people would only accept me if I was smaller and in shape. So I lost a ton of weight just to be healthier, and so that people wouldn't bully me anymore. And then that became like something about how other people poured into me is why I would go hours without eating. Would go to the gym and work out for 4 hours straight till I almost passed out. Yeah. Because I was trying to be something. Yeah. That everybody else thought I should be.
Instead of being healthy.
Exactly.
And then,
Yeah. And we're working towards this ideal image that's not even real. Like, even if you look at some of the models, even those pictures are photoshopped and airbrushed and all these things, and they're not real. Yeah. It's not real. Yeah. And so we have to, at a certain point in time, you have to shut out what the world says about you and what the world makes you feel like you should be doing, and focus on just you. Yeah. How do you feel? Do you feel like you look good in this dress? Okay, then cool. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. And even with my health journey, like most doctors say that the right thing to do is to work out 3 to 4 times a week. I'm not there yet. I'm doing 2 to 3.
Good job.
Because that's where I'm at.
That's where you're at.
So who cares? Yeah. I'm better than what I was a few months ago. And that's what matters. Exactly. I love that. Yeah. Good for you. Thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Because it's what's sustainable was what matters. If you just went in there and were like, okay, just let's do 5 days a week, and then you got burnt out, and then but if you're a slow build to being healthy, to being your most healthy, that is what's going to be sustainable. Yeah. And I think because you do a lot of work to stay in touch with yourself and everything, like, you're going to feel a certain way about it because you're in touch and you realize that that's how you actually feel. But you're not doing it in a way that you're just so hard on yourself that you were sick and now you're like going to either like boycott it and be like, well, it didn't work out for me. Right. Or just stop, know? Like, you're like, no, okay, like, all right, had a couple of days off, now we'll get back into it. Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I love that you said that. Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. You're doing the things. Like,
I am.
And it's sustainable, and that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. And it's CrossFit, right?
Yes.
Dang, that's bold.
It really
like,
is.
That is bold. Good for you. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, no, it's rough, but I'm making it. Yeah. And I tell them all the time, like, there are certain things I can't do. Yeah. So meet me where I'm at, and I will do it.
Nice. Good
so
for you.
I've made it work for me, and it's going.
Yeah. CrossFit is hard.
It is.
CrossFit is no joke.
It is. They're doing like acrobatic. Like, absolutely not. I'm not.
Yeah. What was the thought process there? You're like, I'm just going with CrossFit. Like, you would try a cycle class or something.
So like, it was because okay. It definitely wasn't my first thought. Okay. Because my entire life, anytime I ever heard CrossFit, I was like, yeah, absolutely not. Yeah. That's crazy. I'm good. I will go for a walk. I'm good on that. But no, I just decided a few months ago that I just wanted to just restart this health journey, because I've tried many times to be on a health journey, and then things happen. I go back and forth. And one of my coworkers, she's actually my supervisor where I work. She told me that she did CrossFit, And I was like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. I'm okay. I will go figure it out myself. And she was like, no, like, they're good people. Like, there are certain things that I can't do, so they scale it down. Like, she was really laying it on thick. And I was like,
I'm glad to hear that, though. That's good. Yeah.
So I went, and they had us do like a foundations kind of thing where you go to work out for like
you said this.
4
I remember
times
this
before
now.
actually diving into the classes.
Yeah.
And it's just them like showing you the basic moves and trying to see like what you can and can't do. And then from there they get you into classes, and you just go right in. So when I went to meet, my partner did it with me, and we went to the foundations workouts, and it was good. We enjoyed it. It was rough, but it wasn't like unbearable.
That's so huge.
And we just decided to keep going.
Good for you.
So,
yeah. I mean, little side quest here, but my older brother and I talk about that. Like, if you're someone who doesn't like love working out, you don't be on a gym normal workout schedule. Like, do a group class thing that you like, or find some sort of hobby that like dancing or tennis or something like that, because it really comes back to what is sustainable, like what works for you, that's actually healthy, but movement, we know there's no doubt that it's good for us, and it's supposed to be a part of our lives, and it makes us happier and healthier and all the things. So
it does.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you. I'm really proud of you. Proud of you, because that's, I mean, you're doing all the things.
Yeah. I am. I'm doing what I said a second ago, where I'm trying to focus on the facts more than my emotions.
So what are your facts in that help you, that you go
that
to?
I'm still going.
Yeah.
Even when I don't have to, because I'm not obligated. I don't have to keep going to the gym if I don't want to.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm continuing to go, even when I don't feel like it or when I don't feel good, I'm doing it. And
good for you.
the fact that I'm given workouts and I complete them. It might not be, for example, like sometimes they'll give, like you have to do like 5 reps of something.
Yeah.
I might do 4.
Yeah.
But I still did them.
Yes.
That's the fact, is that I still did them.
Yes.
I still showed up for myself.
Good.
So it's those small things. The fact is that I am drinking more water. The fact is that I'm eating better. The fact is that I'm taking better care of myself, and I'm feeling it mentally and emotionally and physically. So those are the facts that I keep telling myself. And I feel like the more you tell yourself the facts, the more you start to be like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So that's the journey that I'm on right now.
I love that. I think I have to remember that. Like, I'm coming back from knee surgery right now, and I get like these false feelings of like being behind or whatever. And it's like, what is the facts? You've had 3 knee surgeries and you just turned 24.
Jeez, boo.
Yeah. So I get caught up, and I'm like, those are the facts. You had 2 ACL surgeries, right? Like, those are the facts. I mean, I'm still not a year out from one of my surgery. Like, I'm glad you said that. Yeah. Focus on the facts, and then it makes the feelings so much easier to manage. Yeah. Like, because they're not real. Like, they don't have to be real. That's how I feel about the facts. Right. Otherwise, ooh. Right. Yeah. 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 Well, this was great. Thanks, sir. Yeah, this is awesome. Like, I want to give you a hug. I love this.
I'm happy that you even wanted me to be here.
Dude, this was amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm so grateful for your support. I'm already excited for the next show. Turn on notifications and be on the lookout for my next episode. Also, please share the show with anyone you feel like might benefit from listening to. Thank you for all your love and support. I will see you soon.